If your defrost isn't working that well and you're changing your buttons and you put your hand, you don't feel any air coming out of the front, it looks like you're going to need a new blend door gear. That's also the same for the feet. If you don't get no air down by the feet, you're going to need to purchase these replacement gears. The link will be in the description. First thing to do, pull up on the back of this plastic housing. That should pop off. Get that out of the way. 3 7mm screws. So use a socket on these. There. Come down here, use both hands, thumb on each side, on this side and this. You'll be able to pop this plastic up, lift it out of the way. Down there, you have 2 more. One in the center of the screen, one in the center of the screen. Remove those screws. As you lift the instrument cluster out of the way, you only have this one plug. You'll push down on the center here, and then you'll lift this tab up, and this will pull right out. Go ahead, remove that. Pull off that plastic again. Make sure you have your steering wheel all the way out and all the way down. Gives it more room. All right, that was the easy part. Now, the hard part is reaching back in here. So I have the car on, but it's not running. I'm going to try to show you. I'm going to be changing my directions down here, and we're going to see. I got that big white gear. Okay. And there's all this stuff in the way. Got to try to move it out of the way. This white gear. Sorry for the bad angle. As I change my settings, there's a gear behind that gear that should cause the top gear to move. If I can get my hand back here. So I can change that. I shouldn't be able to change that with my finger. So my top gear is broke. That affects your defrost. So we'll go ahead and work on repairing this. All right, I have my seat all the way up, the back forward. I got my left arm in here with a 7/32 socket or a ratcheting wrench. I have a specialty, because I've done this a couple times. I have a specialty 5.5mm ratcheting wrench. I have that on, come on, focus, yes. I have that on the screw that holds the gear, the big plastic gear on. And you gotta just find the right angle to get in there. Remove that screw. And I've done it with a 7/32 socket before on a little extension. I bought this. I'll try to put the link on Amazon. This is a 5.5mm ratcheting wrench. I think it was like 20 bucks. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that screw from the big plastic gear. We got the screw and the base cover off.
Once you remove this metal retainer, there's actually a part of the center post that you push in on to remove the big white plastic gear.
You need to feel on top. Just can't show you. I'll show you the 2 gears after. You need to feel on top where the base gear comes into the splines. I'll try to explain it better when I get it out. But what I did is I pulled the big gear back. I pulled this gear back until I have just enough room for the top gear to pop out. And I got it out right here. And we're gonna compare these two. What you need to pay attention to is this nub here. It's gonna ride, it's either gonna be in a setting where it's riding in the top or in the middle of the big gear. When you frickin' wire in the way, it's hard to show you. But we're gonna talk about these gears next. On the left is the gear we're replacing. You can see how it's like a skeleton gear. It breaks right off. On the right is the replacement. It's a solid piece. That's what we're gonna be putting in. So we're gonna go ahead and button that back up. can also see how there's this side has it slightly closed. And this side's open. So when we go to put this back in, it's gonna be put in like that. This little pin here, this has to ride in the groove within the big white gear. So I'll see if I can't get my camera in there and I'll get a better photo of that. All right, guys, we got the new gear in. I'm moving it with my finger, but I'm one tooth off. We have to make sure this is perfectly centered. If I go all the way over, it should be over, I believe, one more gear. Because when we come back, there's still a hair bit of room. So I'm gonna pull this gear out without dropping it and recenter it. And then I'm gonna make sure it's timed correctly. If I can get another angle, and we'll come back.
After recording, I did more research and was able to find this on the internet. This is the correct alignment for the gears, both the top one and the harder to get to bottom one. When we look at the top small gear, we can use the way it connects, those little nubs, to be able to properly align that new gear we're replacing. Obviously, to save this photo or screenshot it. The bottom gear we'll talk about, which is harder to get to later in the video. Also, at the very end of the video, I added some more updates and screenshots that may be useful.
So we have two ridges in here. You have a center ridge or channel, and you have an outermost channel. Defrost is going to ride in the innermost channel. The gear on the bottom, which I'll show later, rides on this outmost. So once you're pretty sure you got that centered up right, you got everything pushed back in, you don't need the screw on. Car on, not running. We're going to turn on our blowers, and we're going to check it. We got some blowing there. Let's go, let's change it up here. So as you change it, stuff's gonna move around, and we got a problem. Did something wrong. This gear got stuck, stopped spinning. You'll feel it, it went dit. So we gotta play with it until we get the timing right. We'll be back. All right, well, once you play with it for another 20 minutes and you get everything where you want it, what happened to me was the bottom gear fell off when I had the big plastic gear. So I had to reach my finger way down here. See my finger? All right, there we go. I have to have that way down here to get the bottom gear back in line. That bottom gear rides on the outside of the gear. All right. So we got that all back together. We got our screw back in here. I'm going to screw that back down. Should be noted, this little metal base plate, part of it sits inside of the plastic thingy here. Yeah, there's only a little bit that rides on the edge. Plug back in your instrument cluster, put those 5 7mm screws back in, plastic housing, plastic clip thing. Here's that ratcheting wrench. It's a KS tool, 5.5 mil, or like I said, you can use a 7/32 socket. Little bitty guys. All right, we're going underneath the steering wheel now. I'm in a weird position here. If your feet are not getting hot or cold, mine's not broke, I ain't fixing it. I'm gonna try to help show you though, in case you decide to. This in the center of the screen, that is the gear, that's the motor, the black gear that spins to change the different settings of where to blow. If we look here in the center of the screen is the big wheel, big plastic gear that we had to pull backwards to enable to get the new black gear in behind it. To the left of that, in the center of the screen, that is the bottom defrost gear. Same one, it's the same type of gear we had on top. So if your bottom feet aren't working, that's the one you have to replace. Problem is, this one's a lot harder to get to. it helps if you remove your bottom airbag here, you remove some of this kick stuff, you move that that black plastic vent to get some hand room. First thing you do is you'd remove that screw holding the motor on. There's another screw on the other side of that. It is a pain to get to. If you do this, you will need the 5.5 millimeter ratcheting ratchet. I would suggest if you need feet that bad, just get a screwdriver in there and try to manually open the bottom gear yourself. And you can just leave the feet on. But this one's a pain to get to. I've attempted it once, and the gear was seized up somehow. It wasn't even worth getting into. The defrost you need, your feet you can live without. But I just wanted to get down here and show you guys what kind of involves to do the feet, which I would not do the feet. But if you do the feet, go ahead and fail at it. For some reason, these gears always tend to break in the winter. So if you got a heated garage, that helps. If you're in a pinch, you can just take apart the instrument cluster, get behind there. If you're waiting for the new gear part to come in, you can just manually open it with your hand. If you decide not even to mess with it, you can just manually open it, just like the foot gear. I'm pretty sure it'll stay open. There is some tension on that gear when I was just playing with it myself, and you can just manually open it till you decide to fix it later.
I bought this bore scope camera to help me see what's going on back there a bit better. It's helpful. It's not fully needed though. You can get your phone camera back there to see stuff. This photo, I'm able to see the alignment of the top gear that I replaced, and using that photo, we're able to kind of imagine how those teeth are gonna mesh up and proper alignment. Here we can see the gear that we've replaced, and this is riding on the inside groove. This was taken from underneath looking up. This is the bottom gear that I did not replace, and this we can see it's riding in the outside groove of the big white gear. This is looking at the bottom skeleton gear that I did not change. I'm trying to get a photo of the alignment, but you just can't see in there without removing the center large white gear. Here's our black motor gear running against the timing, the center timing gear. You're not able to fully remove that big white main gear unless you remove the motor gear. You can pull it back a bit, but you don't want to do it too far. You might break the black gear. This is from the top looking down at the bottom gear timing. I'm trying to get to see what the timing is. Unless you remove the big white center gear, it's hard to see. Now you might be able to push that in with your hand, and maybe I would have been able to see what the timing was, but I wasn't able to see it on that. I didn't think of it until after I watched the video.
I hope this video helps. Like and subscribe. If you got a question, leave a comment. Thank you.